Hello and welcome back to the Game Bet Match podcast. I'm your host, Manny Friedman, along with my co-host.
Brad Sloan.
All right,
Back in
back
the
in
house,
the house, baby.
baby!
Back in the house,
This is
baby.
now the most excited I've been to do a pod in about a year.
It's
Like,
amazing, yeah. It's
yeah,
what a day, man. It started at what 5 a.m. with a beautiful Poppy win,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
it finished with about 120 more followers.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it was kind of insane. So I guess that's a good place to start. So for all the new followers, if there's anybody new who's joining the podcast and hasn't joined before, first of all, welcome. We're excited to have you. Please give a comment, a like. If you give comments on the YouTube video or on the Spotify, like, subscribe, like
Mhm.
we respond. You can DM us. Like we love talking tennis with whoever. So we're more than happy to chat. If you want to chat it up, that's awesome. Our podcast, I would say, functions partially as a gambling podcast, but also we do a lot of tennis talk. So
Mhm.
we'll do some recap talk, a lot of talk on the just a kind of a lot of talk on the sport in general. We're more qualitative cappers, I would say, than quantitative, certainly. So that's kind of a flavor. That's more the flavor you'll get from us. A little bit of a mix of both, but definitely more on the qualitative side. Um, Manny and I actually, well, Manny now lives in Rhode Island, Manny and I both used to live in New Jersey, about 10 miles away from each other.
Yeah.
So we actually used to play tennis, and we've hung out. We've been friends for years now. So you'll definitely hear some goofy inside jokes and those sorts of things, and that's why.
Yep.
Uh, I don't know. Other than that, we just like to have fun, chat some tennis, and yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean we're trying to improve on the quantitative side. We hope to get Piranha Tennis, who does some great statistical work, as a guest in the near future. We're always looking to learn. We're always looking for new insight on the sport and just continue to grow. But it's not all about the gambling. It's also about just growing the sport. You know, so
Yeah,
uh,
so you'll definitely get a lot more. We will try to footnote it. So if you are somebody who's interested in only the gambling portion, we'll do some timestamps on where that picks up. Usually we start with kind of a recap of what's happened, what we've seen, what we're thinking about the sport, and then we'll go into the gambling kind of for the second half.
mhm, for sure, for sure. So I guess without further ado, let's get right into it. So what are some of your key takeaways, like first couple of
I
days?
mean, I think like we wouldn't be a tennis podcast if we
Yeah,
didn't talk about Rublev losing. I
yeah.
mean, it was hilarious. I played. So I both me and I played quite a bit of tennis. I
Mhm.
actually went to play today. And my buddy's like, "Did you hear Rublev lost the first match in Monte-Carlo?" And I'm like, "Heard."
That's awesome. Did you tell him how much you profited?
I didn't. I didn't. I felt like a little bad getting into the whole thing and like gloating about it too much. So I was like, yeah, no, I heard. And then we started talking about more like the tennis aspect of it than then after that. But like, and I said like why I
Yeah,
wasn't surprised. But
right.
yeah. I mean, honestly, I mean, obviously we bet it, but like,
Yeah,
and like, did I think that Poppy was gonna win half the time? No, but I thought it was like way more than a quarter than the 3-1 you were getting. I mean,
for
way more. I
sure.
thought maybe like he was maybe 40% live, if not more. Like, maybe 40 to like it's. I think all the stars were aligned for this one for Poppy, to be honest. Like I mean, there were like 6 or 7 stars that were aligned. I think they're
100%. And I thought you were even more strongly on it than I was. I was obviously on it too, but I was more actually on the Rublev regression angle and you were more kind of on the pro Poppy, I felt. Um,
yeah,
and like, I don't know, I'm under the kind of impression that I think that Dubai debacle slightly impacted Rublev's play. And at this point, I don't know how you can say otherwise. Like, granted, he didn't win a set against Machak, didn't win a set against Poppy, so I feel like it's impacted his confidence. And I think Rublev he's built on self-doubt. And I think that's why he goes like so crazy when he doesn't things don't happen as expected for him. Like he just goes nuts. And I think if some external factors don't go his way, I think like sometimes, it could affect him. Like I think that's why people love him, because he's kind of vulnerable, in that way. And like he's relatable to what other people are feeling on the court. And that's why people kind of like him. But when stuff happens, I think it could actually affect him negatively. That's kind of a takeaway I have.
Yeah, I hear that. I don't I didn't work that very much into my handicap, but maybe a little bit. I think but I don't think it's necessarily a bad take. I mean, it definitely makes logical sense. The other piece I wanted to call out is like, we've talked about this with Rublev. We kind of, at the beginning of last year, so our pod's been around for about a year and a half now, or really since the start of 2023, so I guess a year and a quarter. But when we talked about Rublev at the beginning of last year, we talked a lot about his lack of variety and how he was really kind of a one-dimensional player. And then he did a lot better by kind of being smarter, more, adding in a little more defense, being more willing to make balls. And we really saw it kind of turn around in the Monte-Carlo semi versus Fritz, the rain delayed match, where he came back from a set down really by doing that, by realizing that the court was too slow to hit through. And so he had to make a lot of balls, be smarter, hit to the right spots. I think Rublev started to do that better, but there still is a huge problem with him and lack of variety. And there's before it was like he had two game plans: hit hard and hit harder.
Yeah.
Now there's maybe like hit hard, hit more, more accurately and hit harder, but like,
and his inability to come forward and finish points at net is really hurting him now. Like I feel like it's something that he's really going to need to implement. Otherwise, he's, first of all, not going to improve in the rankings, but he might actually regress.
Yeah, and I think like the problem is that like he's really vulnerable against a lot of guys. So he's vulnerable against any top guy who can like outplay him, because if he's getting outplayed, he can't do anything to change it. And then he's also vulnerable against even these guys who may be lower ranked than him, like these Popyrins, Hurkacz, Machachs, or Machachs, I don't even know how you say his name. But they're all kind of the same prototype of player who they're like big hitters who like sometimes they miss, and that's why they lose more matches than Rublev. But he's really vulnerable against these guys, because if these types of guys are making balls, like Rublev doesn't really have he's not going to start hitting slices or changing up the pace. He's not going to start like he might like he can do some kind of small tweaks, maybe hitting with a little more spin or something, but he's not going to like do things to really change how the match is going. He's just going to kind of do the same
and hope to play better. And
if
that doesn't happen, he's going to lose.
Yeah, he's going to hope to play better, that the opponent plays worse, and that's sort of his game. And I think, because it's not the first time we've seen a big hitter beat Rublev in the past, pretty recently.
For sure.
Or give him trouble. So I think that's definitely another angle on it. He also really struggles in first matches of tournaments. I mean, we've talked about this in the past, but like usually he's so much better that he gets through. If he's going to play Leon Brody, like even if he's struggling, he'll probably win. But when he gets these tough first matches, it's a real problem.
Yeah.
Because his level just isn't there the first match of tournaments, and like especially the first set, but the first match even in general. And like if he's not, if he's up against a guy like Poppy on slow clay, I think is at least a top 40 player, if not better. He might be top 30.
I think that's the other piece of it that goes unnoticed in this matchup, is that like you think Poppy, Australian, big game, big power game. You think of him as a fast court player, right? Like just putting like all the results aside, right? You would think of Poppy. Big serve, big forehand. Like, he's a fast court guy. He's probably way better on like fast, harder grass. But like when you like look at him and you actually look at the results, actually slow clay, surprisingly, is probably his best surface.
But I think there's and it's funny because like we had this conversation with Tidbits, like what was this 2-3 months ago? We had this conversation with Tidbits, and he was like, "Oh no way, you're just talking about one run in Umag." But really, if you look at last year, Umag, he won Umag. He made, I think, round of 16 or round of 32 in Rome. And then he did well in Monte-Carlo. Like those were his 3 best tournaments.
Yeah.
But like even putting results aside, I think we have like we've started to talk about this, Manny, like this idea of like the player who's like I don't know how you say it, like the player who's like so it's like if you're just thinking like generally speaking, right? You think, oh, big serve equals good on grass. Good volleys equals good on grass.
Yeah, it's not necessarily the case.
Yeah, grind, baseline player, good, accurate baseliner equals good on clay, and 100%. And we've seen this with like, we kind of talked about like Demonor and like the category of like grass
Right.
grinder, right?
Yep.
Like similarly, like there's like the big clay hitter where like the where they need time. Maybe they make a lot of errors. They're not really quick. Like Popper's a great example. He's super explosive, but he's not quick.
Mm-hmm.
And so like and so that extra time really helps. And he's got a long swing path, and so it really helps him. Another guy
Yeah.
who's weird like that is like, with the exception of one, and he's not, and this guy isn't exactly like this because like the crowd plays into it too. And there's not a lot of like great crowd sites on clay. But like Kokonakis, I think, is another guy who actually does better than you would think on clay
Yeah.
because he is more.
Good call out.
Yeah.
Call.
There's a lot of guys. There's not a lot, but there are some like it's one of those again. Like I don't know what you want to call like awkward category. It's like the opposite of the grass
Yeah.
grinder. It's the opposite of Demonor. But like it's and I think it's a really important thing to call out because I think it goes really under noticed by almost anyone. Like I haven't heard
Another thing which makes Poppy decent on clay is that he's a pretty decent volleyer. Like he's not an awful volleyer. And like I think that's another thing that goes under unnoticed on clay is like people think, oh, baseline grinders. But in reality, you have to be able to finish points at net on clay. You really do. Like it's such a huge piece of clay court tennis.
I can't agree more. I mean, 100%, 100%. And it's again, it comes down to like this. Yeah, it's kind of cool because I think these like these
and
are
that's coming from a guy who like is terrible at net. But I acknowledge the importance of it, like
yeah.
it's true. It's huge. And like I think that's actually a big part of Nadal's like success on clay. Like he was such an underrated volleyer throughout his career.
And willing to come forward, right? And
Yeah.
being willing and I mean, and people talk about this quite a bit, but how important tactics are on clay, but they don't talk about like how important that part of the tactics is knowing when to come forward because yeah, if you don't come forward at the right time and you let the guy get the ball back deep, it's a killer on clay. It's so hard to hit winners.
Over. Exactly. Yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal. But yeah, amazing bet. Like it was just an amazing way to start the morning. Like it was incredible.
And again, like honestly, like it was fun to make the many units we made on the bet this morning, but like it was more fun honestly getting all the followers to me. Like that that was crazy. Like all the comments, all like all the likes and all the followers. Like, again, like love everyone. Like I think pretty much had a smile on my face pretty much the entire day because of it. So it was a good day.
It certainly
Poppy is definitely, no matter what happens, Poppy is definitely going to be he's definitely going to be Bulldog of the Week. Yeah. So we have an idea. We haven't done it in a while, but we have an award called Bulldog of the Week. We need to start bringing back the BD Bulldog. Yeah, definitely he's the
Hey, you still have a 40-1 futures on him, and I actually think it has legs. It has some serious legs.
I think it does have legs. I mean, he's only got to win 2 more matches, and I don't see anybody in this quarter he can't beat. To be honest, we'll talk about that more, but
let's see what Djokovic does. I mean, but still, it's fantastic value. Like I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying I don't see anybody he shouldn't be a favorite against. I'm not saying that. I'm saying he can't beat. You know what I mean? Like I'm saying, I mean, like it's like I had Griekspoor futures in one tournament, and he came up against Sinner, and I was like, I'm done. Like you lose. You know what I mean? Like, there's no like there's no way around it. Like it's just not going to happen. Like
yeah. I guess let's pivot over there. We can talk Yannick Sinner.
I think maybe let's talk the Alcaraz injury because I think that if you talk about tennis, that's
all right. So many storylines.
Yeah, I think that's the second. I mean, that might be the bigger storyline if you're thinking just pure tennis. Would be the Alcaraz, Alcaraz injury and Alcaraz withdrawing. And it definitely obviously impacts like, the odds are now down to 2-1 last I saw for Sinner to win the tournament. I didn't play because it's such a poor price. But like, there's nobody who should beat him now. With Alcaraz not playing, like Sinner. I mean, it's hard to say this, but like it's weird to say it this way, but he should win this tournament
I,
in
I
my eyes.
I agree. I mean, I'm thrilled with my 3-1 that I placed before the tournament. I actually think that there's more value on Sinner to win the French now, honestly, with the question marks on Alcaraz.
What is the current price on that?
That's a good call. Let's see. But if it's still similar to what it was prior to the injury, like at like 5-1 or 6-1, like I think there's value on that.
I would have to tend to agree, which is crazy in my eyes, but like, yeah. Well, especially because the other thing you're still getting is you're still getting, at least from what I've seen at most books, you're still getting a pretty high price on the Nadal. Or a pretty high, like, you're still seeing Nadal out there.
Nadal
like,
is plus 400 and Sinner's plus 450 on Bovada. Like that's insane.
Yeah, that's insane. Like, I think you have to hit 450 and you have to hit the field against Nadal, like minus 500, whatever it would be. I don't think I'm sure that's not up there, but like, I'm just saying in theory. Because like,
but just in theory, if Sinner wins this event, right, that price is probably going to go down to like plus 250. You know, it's going to go down quite a bit just because the question marks with Alcaraz. Like, if Sinner wins, that means that Djokovic, that's another week without Djokovic winning a title. You know, I don't know, another week with not seeing Nadal, like the hype on Sinner is going to grow. So like, I think if you want to hit that, I think like now is the time.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. It's just, man, it's the same problem as always with Yannick. Is like, do you trust him physically to win 7 matches? But he may not even he may not even need the physicality. He's
I
playing
know
so
he's hitting
right
the ball
now. It's
so
crazy.
freaking well.
Yeah. Well, not only hitting the ball well, but he's playing such good defense. We've talked about this ad nauseum on this pod, but like, I think that's the biggest change for him is the defense is so much better. Like, and the tactics, like just not hitting, just not making stupid mistakes. Like
honestly, when I watch like him, I'm thinking to myself, like, where the hell do you go? Because
right, like again, and this is why I have to credit Cahill because like,
yeah,
like he's made like, I don't think like Sinner is like the tactician that Djokovic is, for instance, but like his tactics fit his game now very well. Like he doesn't need to be. He's so good on defense. He's so he's so good on defense. He's moving so well. To your point, you've always said talk about his length, and that's really important. Like, and he's hitting the ball. Like he hits the ball still really freaking well too. And like when you have that, like the probably really good tactics are for him to just run the baseline and not make stupid errors, and then hit winners when they're there to be hit.
yep, I know.
And it's not like he's a passive player. He's plenty aggressive, but like, like there's no need to get tricky.
No, there's no need. There's no need. And like, I just don't see that many guys that are going to beat him. And like, I feel like, Alcaraz now, first he has to get healthy, right? But then he also has to find the form to deal with that. And like,
it sucks that there's no news on tennis. Like I would love it if there was like, oh, he has a forearm strain, and those usually take 4 weeks to heal. Because then I would agree with you, But like, because like, yeah, it's
but like fully healthy Alcaraz versus fully healthy Sinner, on a clay court, like where do you put the odds at?
probably like minus 140 to minus 150 for Alcaraz, plus 115 to plus 125 for Sinner, somewhere in that range.
Probably
so like Alcaraz as a what?
Yeah, I'd agree with you. I think that's accurate. But then you add the injury concerns, right? And you add all the other variables, like the fact that like Sinner's just probably playing better tennis right now than Alcaraz, right? You add that to it. You add the injury, then it makes them like pretty even.
Yeah, I mean, so if you're trying to bet who's going to win a tournament right now, yeah, I get that because you don't know when Alcaraz is going to be back. I mean, we see, yeah, Yeah, you never know.
And I'm
right?
just saying, like, if you think this, right? If you agree with what we're saying, now is the time to pounce on it because you're not going to get these kind of odds on Sinner post Monte Carlo, especially if he wins the event.
Yeah, I think the odds would drop. Yeah, I think if he wins Monte Carlo, the odds would drop pretty significantly. I agree with that. I don't know all the way about all the way to plus 200 because like you're still going to have three favorites, right? You're still going to have Djokovic and Alcaraz as favor or as in that
Yeah,
similar range.
but right now the books view Nadal as a bigger favorite than Sinner, which is just laughable.
That'll probably, but Nadal probably won't go anywhere. He'll probably stay at that 4-1. It's like
That's what 14 titles does.
yeah,
Right? It's insane.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and let's be real, right? So like a lot of this too is the market is like the market protecting itself, right? And like they just want to make sure that like not too much money comes in on one like on any of these people, right? So like it's not necessarily measuring like what $100 chance is. It's more the market saying like, okay, we don't want like a million people to come in and bet Nadal at like plus 200, right? Because that just opens us up for risk, right? Like,
Right. Right.
I mean, we see the books do this with Djokovic all the time, right? Where they would put insane prices on Djokovic just to avoid having like
Yep.
too much money going on Djokovic because it's scary for the books. Like,
Yeah. I agree. I don't know. I mean, the Alcaraz injury kind of it puzzles me because it's like, where did it come from? Like, I didn't see any of this in Indian Wells or Miami.
could have just been. I mean, these
Wear and
little strains
tear.
could be like a practice thing. You know what I mean? Like, could have. Who knows?
Could be, but
Could have been. Heck, it could have been even like he could have been doing weightlifting or something, and what I mean, like, I'm sure he does like lifting as part of his training regimen, and could have been doing some off court training and like,
true,
injured it. It's like,
true.
again, like you don't know any like in tennis, you don't know any details. So it's like,
No, you don't.
and like, unlike football, like American football or like basketball or like unlike like
Yeah,
the American sports, like even baseball, like I feel like in tennis, like the injuries are like always wear and tear. They're never like major things. Like you never see a guy like break a leg or like break a collarbone or like tear an ACL. It's always like a knee strain. You know what I mean? That like all of a sudden
yeah.
pops up and then they miss like, a month or 2 months. Like,
And
look, we've seen serious injuries, but it's pretty rare.
if they have like a meniscus tear like Federer did, like it they're done for like a year. You know?
Right. Right. But a lot of times like it's crazy because a lot of times it's just wear and tear stuff. And like all
Yeah.
of a sudden it just comes up and like, yeah, but you don't see it like live to be like, ooh, like, okay, we can point to that, and it was that, and it's exactly that. Like because like especially like these, and I don't think Alcaraz is that way, but we also see so many guys like pull out of like matches and tournaments for like no reason. Like Jerry, I think against Tsitsipas just quit. Like he
Oh,
retired,
yeah.
but from what I
No
understand,
doubt.
he
No
just didn't
doubt.
want to play tennis
That
anymore. He
was
was like,
I mean, I'm sure that this could be that the sports book was like one of the tabs open on his Safari app.
yeah,
That's what it felt like. I mean, it was ridiculous. Like,
yeah.
you know what? And he was about to serve, and he was like, you know what? No, I'm walking up. I'm shaking his hand. It was like one of the worst retirements I've ever seen. That was a joke. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's like, but the problem is like you see, like I said, you just never like you don't know like week to week what like or you don't know the injury because there's not that much news, and then again like you don't know about these like like you don't know like is the retirement a sham retirement? Is it like a real retirement? Like what's going on here? Like because a lot of times guys are like where you have like you have like the Holger room like forearm strain thing, which like he was hurt, but then like 2 days later he was fine, or not maybe 2 days, but like within like a week he was like so he wasn't like seriously hurt, but like I guess there was
Yeah.
clearly some because he wasn't hitting well, he wasn't serving, he was like serving a lot lighter, but then like 4 days later he was fine. So it was just like I don't know for like a wear kind of injury, fatigue, you know what I mean? Like so like you just
Yeah, he
never
showed
it's
up in
like
an exhibition like 2 days later. It's ridiculous.
UTS, yeah.
UTS. It's a joke. I mean, yeah, but I mean, I really hope Alcaraz is back because like just would be a shame if like that forearm injury lingers and like he's not back to his best.
And I think for tennis, man, like you need it. Otherwise, like And we'll see, right? Because we said this about Alcaraz like a year ago, but like if Alcaraz can't get back, like who's going to step up and challenge Sinner? Because I don't think the answer is Daniil Medvedev.
No.
Like, I think
I
I
mean,
mean,
he
this
was
is
getting beaten by center 1 and 2 on the hard court. Like you turn that to clay, like that probably just adds to Sinner's edge.
well, my point was a little different. I was going to say like, well, I don't know what Medvedev does at this point to get that much better. Like the holes are clearly there, but there's no indication that they're going to get fixed with Medvedev, right? In terms of
No.
like, there's, you know what I mean? And like, like I don't even want to say holes, but like the the one-dimensional game style, right?
I
I
would
don't
say,
see that changing.
maybe he can like improve some things tactically, per se, but like I don't think he can necessarily improve like his actual tennis game, you know?
Right, right.
And
Like
he needs some slight regression, like from Sinner or Alcaraz, right?
right, like the only guy I actually see who I think could improve his tennis game right now and this guy's got to improve a lot. But the only guy I see that could improve his tennis game and challenge Sinner if Sinner keeps this up is Holger Rune.
I would agree with that. That was the guy that came in my mind. Like I don't even think Ruud can. Like Ruud right now on
No,
the clay court power rankings is slightly higher than Holger Rune, but his upside is not nearly as high.
I couldn't agree more.
So yeah, for sure. Potentially is Zverev. I would say Rune then Zverev maybe, but like Zverev hasn't really shown that he can like rise to the occasion in big matches. He did this year in Australia to some extent, and then like before the injury, like when he played Nadal at the French, like I guess those were his two best slams.
I
Um,
will say is when for the Zverev Nadal or not Nadal, the Zverev Sinner matchup,
yeah,
I do think it's worth noting that like Sinner or Zverev would have a big edge in physicality there. That you know what I mean, like that, like his biggest strength. I think Zverev has a big edge there. I think one of the
I think
Zverev's
the
biggest
edge is
strength is
shrinking. I think there's a slight edge, but it's shrinking. Sinner's physicality hasn't been tested all year, but with how he's improved every other aspect of the game, I think we have to give him the benefit of the doubt with it, that he's going to rise in that aspect as well.
okay.
Like, I don't know. I just have to take what I'm given when viewing Yannick Sinner right now.
Yeah, I mean he's been really good.
Yeah.
Yannick Sinner is good at tennis. I keep not betting because like the spreads are insane. It's like impossible to bet him because like the spread every match and the spread is for this upcoming match is insane.
I wanted to
Right?
see one match on clay to see, before I started backing him, but like it's close to the Hubie over where it's like it's a really good play just to back him on the spread.
Yeah.
Honestly, like it's crazy. It's crazy, but he's just playing that well. He's just playing that well. I guess let's pivot to Hubie. I don't know. Beginning with Estoril, I just started backing every Hubie over. Right now, I'm 5-1 on that trend, and it's just, and it seems like he's, the overs are hitting. Like today was what 25.5, I think, with the 7-5, 7-6. Most times he goes 3 sets and it just clearly hits. I don't know. It seems like a trend keep backing. Like I'm a little bit worried as it happens all the time because like does he get fatigued? You know, is it dud in store? Like, I don't know. I feel like I need to keep playing it just how successful it's been, but I'm also like fearful that it could end.
Yeah, so I think I have two thoughts on this. So I'm less worried about the fatigue for two reasons. One, because Hubie's like shown the past year that he plays a ton of 3-set matches and he never seems to bother him. I mean, it does. There's been a couple of instances when we've seen him get fatigued, but for the most part, it doesn't. Usually it takes 2 long runs, 2 weeks in a row to fatigue him.
Mhm.
Um, So like we've seen that he can do it. So like now, if you want to make a deep run here, then you'd have to be like, okay, that now you've got a question mark for Barcelona if he plays that. But um,
Mhm.
or whatever tournaments for next week. Maybe it's not Barcelona. I can't remember what's next week. But anyways, um, but I think Hubie's actually like A, his fitness is good. B, with the serve, he gets a lot of free points. And he plays less like rallies on his service game, so he doesn't have to like which serve is like kind of functional breaks, right? For him a little bit. So like that helps. Um, in terms of like from a fitness perspective, right? He gets like rest periods because
Yeah.
he's not having to like run around on the court. Um, but so I'm less worried there. My bigger worry is that like I think the majority of his matches in the past year or close to the majority have gone 3 sets. That to me seems hard to sustain. Because like even if two guys play, even if each set is just a pure coin flip and the guys are like exactly even,
Mhm.
you're only getting 3 sets half the time, right? And then you throw out that like, some like okay, very occasionally somebody's gonna be sick, somebody's gonna be like slightly injured. You know what I mean? It's like that seems like a trend that like isn't sustainable unless there's something weird where like he plays better or worse when he's like down or up a set. But
I think he plays worse when he's up a set. Like I see a lot of like WLWs with QB. Like if I don't know, today he won in straights, but if you look at his recent results, I feel like he's won the first set a lot, lost the second, and then won the third. That was kind of another thing I wanted to like talk to you about. That happened against Draper. It happened against Garin. Uh, in Miami, it happened against Korda. It happened against Shevchenko. I mean, it's not going to happen all the time. It happened against Struth. I don't know. It seems like it happens quite a bit for him. I don't
yeah,
know
I'm
if that's more
counting where times he's
coincidental.
had that happen. It looks like and I'm just doing a quick count, just a quick count.
Yeah.
Um, it looks like it's happened 15 times in the past year
That's a lot.
out of 61 matches. Yeah, I mean that's a lot because usually I mean
Quarter of the
that's a
time
lot.
that's
For that
happening.
that's really insane actually. That's really insane. Um,
Quarter of
and
the
that's in either
time is
direction. The guy
WLW.
who's so actually I guess it's not that insane because like that wasn't him winning necessarily. That was just like the WLW in either direction. So I guess I had the LWL and the WLW in that quick count that I was doing.
Okay.
But it's still yeah, it's interesting. It is interesting. Um,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's like a bit of complacency sets in when he's up a set or the thing with Hubie is that he just doesn't have that extra gear, right? He just like he plays kind of very similarly all the time, you know?
yeah, I agree.
And like he doesn't have gears. So
Yeah,
it's really
that's
up to
yeah.
the opponent to reach that next gear when they play him, but it's very difficult for them to because his serve is so good, they really can't get a rhythm on return. So they can't generate any significant momentum either. And it just results in this like back and forth, you know? And that's
Yeah.
kind of what Hubie's matches turn into.
Yeah, I mean, and one break usually is the set, so
Yeah.
that kind of changes things. Like, yeah, I definitely think like with Hubie, and the books have adjusted to this, but like definitely with Hubie, like chances of going 3 sets with Hubie are higher than any other player, just in general, against a player of like
Yeah.
relatively equal ability, right? Like he's gonna like the way he plays, he's gonna play a lot of 3 set matches. It's just that 50% still seems really high. Like,
Yeah, that's high. But like
you know what I mean? Like,
even the
and
two
is
set
it
matches are going over though. Like there was Choinsky last week, 7-6, 6-4. Ruiz 7-6, 6-4. The Pedro one didn't, obviously. Today was 5-6, so like,
Well, you got to be careful because a lot of times I know the two that you mentioned were over the 22.5, but a lot of times QB overs get into that 23, 24 range. Like on a non-clay surface, you almost always see them up there.
yeah, but not against those kind of opponents.
No. Against like challenger level opponents, you'll see the over-unders at normal levels. But that's just because that's where the spread is, right? The spread is at 4 games, so they have to keep it there. Otherwise, that doesn't make sense.
I just like with the trend being so strong, the books I don't feel have really adjusted.
Well, I mean, right. Keep in mind the books are essentially informed by the people, right? Because they're just like splitting the bets, right? So
Yeah.
like it's not so much it's not the sports book, it's the betting market. Yeah, I mean it's again, it's tricky because like the thing is, like you look at each individual match and like, man, do you really want to take a challenge? You really don't think Huey can break this challenger level guy like once to get a 7-6-6-3 or a 6-7-6?
So. Just gonna back me over, Like,
yeah, I hear you. I hear you. It's just like, it's
yeah, it's interesting. Another thing I wanted to discuss this week is I've been very successful betting the no tiebreak prop.
I was really happy you brought that up because I wanted to talk about the general trend of unders this week. Like, I think we've only seen like so far in this round. I think only I'm doing a quick count here. 1, 2, 3 matches so far have gone over 22 games. Most have gone under 20.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the round of 64, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Only 9 of those 24. So it's been like a really heavy trend towards unders.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, the no tiebreak has been a huge part of that trend, but I think they're kind of one and the same.
Yeah, the only tiebreak all day today was the Huey RBA second set.
And then the other thing to notice is also the dogs have been doing really poorly. I think I saw somewhere somebody said that it's dogs are like 32 or favorites are like 32-8 or something, or 30-8, I think, so far this tournament. Like it's been really, really rough tournament for the dogs. And I wanted to talk about all of them at the same time because I think they all go hand in hand.
I agree. I don't know. It's just I like, with trend betting, like I like betting certain guys with the over, just like QB, or certain guys with the under, but like backing it as a tournament trend is a little bit more tricky to me. Just because I also think like as the maybe top guys start meeting each other later in the tournament, like I feel like that trend could reverse.
I don't know. I mean, I think it might flatten out. I don't know why it would reverse. Like other than I guess like the guys are of closer to equal levels, but yeah.
In terms of a tiebreak, like I like it just because like I feel like on a slow clay court, so much has to go right for it to happen.
You're likely to get a tiebreak because you're more likely to get a tiebreak because both guys get like one break, right? Rather than like a tiebreak because
right,
because neither guy breaks, right? I think that's probably the biggest piece. Yeah, I would tend to agree. Yeah, I mean, I think it makes a lot of sense. It's just like the only problem is like the book, and I know you've hit because there's literally only been one tiebreak, but a lot of those odds on those no tiebreak bets are just really like those prices have that priced in.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just go through a couple like today's matches. Sonego FAA was -139, and I know that this FAA had like multiple break points to force a second set tiebreak. I just think that that's good value considering first
that
of all,
one I agree with. That one I agree with.
quite erratic and like FAA serve is not what it used to be.
That one I agree with.
Tabilo Ruud was minus 175, which is not great, but like as a
Ah,
parlay piece, I think that's great.
I don't know though, Manny, because like the thing is like you got to have two sets not go to a tiebreak, maybe three. It's not like it's just one set. You're right. It's not like you're just betting the first set not to go to a tiebreak. You're betting on
Okay.
two and then potentially three sets. Like you multiply those odds together, and that's when that's when it starts to get tricky.
True.
Like like if there's a match that's like 20% likely to go, if every set is likely to go to a tiebreak, 20% likely to go to a tiebreak or something, like that math works out to like something in the range of like only 60% chance minus 150 that you don't have a tiebreak. It the odds shorten up really quick is the point. And that you know what I mean? So like
Fair.
it's in a match where you're expecting two, potentially three sets, it's that's where it's tricky. Now, again, there's been so many unders here. Like that's the other clause. There's been so many two-set matches, so many unders that like a lot of times you haven't had to worry about that third set.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's true. I mean, maybe I've just been lucky, but
I don't think it's. I mean, like it's something in between. I think it's a great call out. I think they've all worked together, right? Like the fact that you've had the unders and the favorites dominating has really helped with that trend.
well, when we go over the matches, we can see, like what we think, but like I'm more inclined to hit unders, honestly.
I tend to agree.
Or
With
I
that.
feel like I should be more inclined to hit unders going forward. I just don't think. I think it's case by case scenario. It's not like, oh, this is the trend, so you back the under, right? Like you can't do that either.
Yeah.
Except for Hubie. Like they're outliers. But yeah, I think we'll discuss that when we go over the matches. Like I think that's the best way to kind of see if like we think this trend is going to continue.
Yeah.
What else did I want to discuss? Oh, Tsitsipas and Monte-Carlo. So he's had so much success here. Like he won back-to-back titles here. I mean, Etch, that was obviously a bad call.
Again, Edge was just terrible, right? Like, there's no excuse. You know what I mean? So, like, but it's it's another one where like qualitatively it makes sense, right? And it's the like again, it's the exact thing we talked about actually at the top, right? When we talked about Popyrin, this is actually the same idea. Like first glance would say that an attacking game like Tsitsipas would be best on like a guy who's better attack than defense would be best on a quick court, but he actually really struggles in the quicker courts because that backhand is such a problem.
Right.
And his attacking game is so good. And the thing with Tsitsipas is he's really good at the net, and he's really good at knowing when to come forward, and he's really good at coming forward, and he's really good at hitting approach shots, which are all really important skills on clay.
Yeah.
And he knows how to move on the surface. That's another thing that's, we talked about that enough. And I think that's mentioned quite a bit.
Plus his swings are bigger than you would expect. So it's like he needs that extra time.
Especially on that backhand, especially the one-handed backhand. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of reasons. Again, like first glance would tell you, he should be better on the quick court, but there's a lot of reasons he's better on the slow court. And he's better on slow hard too. He's done really well like Luis Cabos.
He just needs more time because he's just when he's rushed, he's just a mess. On
the backhand, on both sides, but on the backhand especially.
Yeah, the forehand too, actually. Like,
yeah,
but yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I guess we can't really take too much stock into the Edge match because Edge just played so bad, But it will be interesting to see your take on the Zverev match. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
That's a fun one tomorrow. So, anything else you want to talk about? Any major takeaways?
No, I mean honestly, like in terms of like big tennis players, like pretty much all the big tennis players, all the well-known top kind of tennis player guys have done, really well. I mean, one guy we could talk a little bit about Berrettini. Yeah, he lost to Kecmanovic quite badly. Yeah. I just think
Great call there.
You can't. I know, Manny, that you work long days and long shifts, but you can't. And you work a lot of days, but you can't ask everybody to come to work every day. Some guys only work 1 week a month. That's just how it is. And some guys don't work early in mornings. Keep that in mind too.
Yeah, but I didn't think Kecmanovic would work that day either. You know, like if it was anyone else, I would be on that. But like for me, it's very hard to back Kecmanovic because you don't know what kind of Kecmanovic is going to show up.
Yeah.
You know, so like I get it now. I mean, in hindsight, it's always easier, but I couldn't get there. I just tend to stay. I'm not a big stay away guy. I mean, you stay away more than I do, but when I see Kecmanovic, I kind of just turn away because like
Yeah.
he's so hard to bet.
He's
So,
really hard to bet. He's really hard to bet.
and I understand your handicap was like more fading Berrettini, which made sense, but
And it
Kecmanovic
was
was not
price,
the
right?
guy.
Like he's a little bit of a dog. If I had to categorize this, he's a little bit of a dog or pass guy, and he was a
Yeah,
major dog. He closed it like 2-1. I didn't get that good of a. I
yeah.
only got 170, I think, but he
Okay.
closed it like 2-1.
2 to 1. Yeah, that's a good price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cerundolo took another loss. I don't know what you think about him. From what I heard, that was not a good match. Another not good match from Cerundolo.
Against Kachanov.
Yeah.
No, he was actually down 4-love in the second, and he came back
I heard
to
it was 5-love.
all. It may have been 5-love even. I mean, it was crazy. Then he got back in that set, but he let it go, and then he just went away in the third. So I don't know. I don't think either guy's in really good form, to be honest. I don't think Kachanov like that says much about Kachanov either. I just think it's just Kachanov is just tougher, just in big moments.
Yeah.
That's what it boils down to there. I don't really like Kachanov's chances against Medvedev, but we'll get into the lines there.
Yeah.
Lorenzo Musetti, that was a very, very entertaining match against Arthur Fils. I don't know how much of it you
Although
saw.
I caught a tiny bit of the end. I mean, those are two of the more entertaining guys on the tour, I will say.
They
Like
are.
in terms of just pure entertainment value.
Yeah. Um, so I had a big parlay with the no tie breaks there. So all I needed was no tie break. Musetti was up 6-3, 5-2
Two
in that
breaks.
match. Two breaks. Two break. I was like, okay, I got it in the bag, whatever. I was at work. And then I checked my phone, it's 5-all. I'm like, huh? Like, how the hell did that happen? It was just like,
Yeah.
Jesus. And Feast apparently just played out of his mind for 3 games, like just blasting winners left and right. It's not like Musetti did much wrong. And then I was really lucky to get the break at 5-all, you know?
Yeah, but then Musetti
Oh,
did like then the closeout game was not great from both guys. Feast just
yeah.
makes some terrible errors,
He
like
does.
just terrible.
Can you explain that point where he like hit the fence or
Oh, there
something?
was a 30 all point. It was 30 all 5-6, and I'm pretty sure like Feast hit a couple of good forehands, and Musetti barely got the ball back, and then Musetti got the ball back to like the service line, and then pretty sure Feast hit the bottom of the fence with those good. And then
I
he did
probably saved
the
my bet though.
and then he crossed like what I do. And like it made sense. Like it was a terrible miss, but like yeah, but Musetti double faulted before that in that game to get it to 30 all. Like it was not the most convincing closeout from Musetti ever.
It was not. It was not.
Um, but again, on this surface, it's hard, man. Like it's really tough to close matches here. We've seen a ton of
It is.
breaks.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, but Musetti showed flashes of absolute brilliance in that match.
yeah,
So
I
yeah.
think that's it. I think I'm good. We
Yeah,
can
me too. Me too.
previews. Should we take a quick 1 minute break and then we'll
Absolutely.
yeah, awesome.
All right, let's do it. All right, welcome back to the show, everyone. So we're back to preview the round of 16 matches. Let me share my screen here. All right, here we go. So I looked at these lines. I'm sure you did too, right? So I guess the lines is probably not something we can play today.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Plus,
But
there's so many lines out on these matches. There are some props and stuff available, so we can kind of just it's not it won't
yeah,
be there won't be a guess the lines day.
yeah. All right. So Minaur versus our boy Popyrin.
Our boy.
Yeah. Minaur is a 3-game favorite. Minus 220 on the money line. Popyrin is plus 180, over under 22. I mean, I like Poppy money line again here at plus 180.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I looked at the stat. I mean, I was looking at a bunch of things. So just their clay court stats, and I'm gonna pull this up quickly.
Mhm.
Is so Popyrin, against top 100 players on clay last 52 weeks. I'm just pulling it up. So his stats, he's 16-5 on clay,
Mhm.
or sorry, he's yeah, I pulled clay. He is 8-5 on the clay versus top 100 players last 52 weeks. Hold percentage of 87, break of 17, 67% serve points won, and 35% return points won percentage. So total of 103 there, total of 105 on the hold break, and 8-5 on the total record. If you pull up Minaur, he's at 6-5 with a hold of 77, a break of 31 for 108 or so, and then service points won of 62 and a return points won of 41 for 103. So the stats are basically identical, with Poppy actually having a slightly better win percentage, slightly better win percentage. Looking at the pulling up the clay elos for a second.
Mhm.
Just pulling that up
I'd be
real
curious
quick.
to see that because like I would think Poppy is slightly higher.
So Minaur's clay elo is 1623,
Okay.
and Popyrin is at 1788.
Wow.
So significantly higher. And that's raw clay elo. So a lot of times, like, for betting, it suggests to use some kind of mix of the elos. And obviously Minaur's overall elo is much higher, right? Like his hard and grass
Right.
is way, outdoes Poppy. But and that was all clay stats. This is slow clay, where Poppy's at his best. Like, if this were at Outsters, I think I would actually
Yeah.
have Minaur. Um,
Well, just from an eye test, like from a more qualitative point of view, like I feel like slow clay helps everything in Poppy's game, whereas slow clay hurts everything in Demonor's game.
I agree. I don't think Minaur moves as well on the clay.
Yep.
I don't think uh he's learned to hit bigger, but I still wouldn't say he's hitting big. Not compared to a guy like Popyrin, right? Like, he's not,
Right. Right.
um I guess the one thing in Demonor's favor is he is pretty good at, like, moving around the court. His tactics are decent. Like, he's decent at coming in when he has to. So that's not bad. Um,
Yeah, that will actually make the matchup tougher than it was against Rublev because like Demonor does come in, and he does
yeah.
do different things, whereas Rublev just kind of plays one way. But I think Popyrin is equipped to deal with that on a slow court, you know?
Yeah, if you're asking me who I think's gonna win, I think Demonor's gonna win. Demonor should be the favorite here in my mind. But not anywhere near this long. And this was longer from what I heard before. I think this price has come down, and it continues to come down. Um, yeah, but I still think there's a ton of value here. Like, I think even 150 would be too long on Popper in here plus 150.
I agree. I mean,
Like, I think this is like if I were putting this as a book, I'd have this at, like, and this sounds insane, but I think it's true. Like, maybe like a minus 150 plus 125 kind of match, minus 160 plus 130 is more I might have it. Like, I think this is like a 60-40 Demonor match. The book here has it like 2-1.
yeah. I think well, I mean, we've talked about how overs are not happening at a good clip, which
Well,
probably
here's
just
an
wants to
here's an
sit and
interesting
play
stat
it.
on Poppy. I think 13 matches in a row on clay, he's won at least one set. The only time he got straight setted on
Interesting.
clay last year was Dan Evans in Marrakech, oddly.
Interesting.
And I think it was first round of Marrakech by Dan Evans, which is very odd. I mean, obviously it's a service transition and a travel transition, so like that's probably what it
Yeah.
was, but very
Well,
odd because Dan Evans is usually not a guy who like moves
yeah.
up in first round matches either.
Well, one thing I've
But
been doing, is like if I believe in the dog, I would hit the dog plus the over combo. And like on clay with these unders hitting, like I actually don't think that that's a great idea. You
So
know?
in this case, if you were going to do it, I think a few bets I like here. I like Poppy on the money line as a dog.
Yeah.
And then if you want to do something, you either hedge or go with or as a parlay piece. Poppy plus 1.5 sets, I think is minus 170. Yeah, it's minus 155.
Pretty good.
I think that's pretty good as a parlay piece
I
too.
agree.
And especially with how Poppy, he can be a little bit up and down. I really think he should be good for a set here at least.
Well, I mean, Minaur lost a set to Greek Sport pretty easily when
And I
like
think Greek Sport is a significantly worse
100.
version actually
Popyrin is a
of
way
Poppy on
better
clay.
clay court player, 100%.
Yeah.
Especially on slow clay.
Yeah.
Um, I like that under half a tiebreak at minus 200. I'm a big fan of that. No,
That's a pretty big price. Yeah, I mean,
as a parlay piece, I like it.
I don't know, man. Like, what do you think the percentage chances of each set going to a tiebreak?
8 to 10, a little less than that.
I mean, I think okay. I mean, yeah. Then in that case, yeah. I mean, sure, but
And
like,
that's following the tournament average. The tournament average is like 7%, which is
yeah,
low considering.
I don't think
Like,
that's going to keep up for a lot of reasons. Um, the biggest reason being that like I think that it's on trend right now to be the lowest tournament in like years on clay, right? In like several years, right?
yeah,
Or lowest tournament period in terms of tiebreak percentage in several years. Like that's like if I had to bet, will there be more or less than 7%? Like if I had to bet, will there be one or more, like more or less than 1.5 tiebreaks in the rest of the tournament, all the matches combined? I would go well over the one, right? The 1.5. I'd probably bet like
true.
I think there'll be a few.
But to me, I think it's like 10 to 15. I don't think it's like that high, to be honest. Um, like for the tournament, like I think that that's probably a more
Yeah, but are these guys average or more than an average likeliness to go to a tiebreak? Probably average. I don't think Demon plays a whole lot of
average.
Poppy plays a whole ton of overs and he plays a lot of tiebreaks actually. But Demon doesn't play as many, so maybe it cancels out. Maybe it's but so then if it's a 15% chance of a tiebreak, like I'm just doing the math really quickly on it, like the basic math I did, like you're getting some value there probably, but like you're probably like 70-ish% likely to win the bet, and you need to be at least 67. So there's probably some value, but like at minus 200, you need to cash, you need to cash like a lot of the time in order for it to be a good bet. Whether it's a parlay or an individual, right? Like you still need to hit that cash rate of 2/3 of the time. Like it's probably value, but it's not like I don't think it's insane value. It's probably like decent value.
I mean, I'm gonna play the plus 180. I think that's gonna be my only play, and I'll probably do the plus 1.5 sets as like a parlay piece. As you said, I don't really want to play any overs or unders. Like I could see this going 3 sets, but I could also see this like going 2.
Well, I think the problem is like, what is the over under 22.5 here again?
Just 22.
22. It's still, I mean, if you're not getting, to your point, if you're not getting a tiebreak, 22 is a lot of games. Like you need a 12-game
These
set.
courts are so slow that it's like a 6-2 set is in play. Like it happened against Greek Sport too, So
I agree with you, Manny. I agree with you. I think the way to play this is, I think the way to play this is Poppy plus a set and a half, and then like I wouldn't play the over games here. That's the one thing I wouldn't play. I'd either play you could play the 3 sets if you like it. You could play the Poppy plus a set and a half. You could play the Poppy 2-0 or the Poppy money line. Those are the 3 bets I like here.
yeah, let's make Poppy money line a GBM play.
Awesome. I'm down.
All right, sweet. Let's back to the well, baby.
Back to well. Plus, we have all those futures. Oh, I put another bet. So after the Alcaraz injury, I guess Bovada didn't update the lines yet. I mean, it's kind of insane. So Poppy, I think this is insane personally. Poppy is still out there at 80 to 1 to make the final right now. That means he needs to beat 3 more players. I don't think there's anybody in this draw that he can't beat.
He's still 12 to 1 to win the quarter.
Yeah, but if he gets to the quarter, he's 80 to 1, I think. The last I checked, he was 80 to 1 to make the final. You're telling me he's not better than 6-1 against the winner of Q3? Like, who's gonna win Q3? Ruud? Like, he's better than +5. He's like, you would hit Poppy at +500 against any guy in Q3 or in Q2. In Alcaraz's quarter, you'd hit Poppy at +500 against any guy. Tell me the guy you wouldn't hit Poppy at +500 against.
Sonego, yes. Humbert, yes. Hubie, yes. Ruud, yes.
At 500, yeah, like 500 is a
100%.
massive odds.
And I would probably hit Poppy +500 against Novak too.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, at this point. So yeah, I think that's good value to reach the final 80-1.
yeah. I mean, like I said, I had 150 before the Rublev match. If I knew I was gonna stay at 80, I would have just waited and hit it at 80. But yeah,
Well, you got a lot of Poppy.
dude, I'm heavy on Poppy this tournament, man. Like, but I just think I feel like there's no like, or not no, but there's minimal movement here.
It's because
Like,
it's the Novak effect, right? Like the books clearly think Novak is like in peak form still, right? Like they're giving him odds based on like him being #1 in the world, right? It's just the
yeah, I
form doesn't
guess,
really
yeah, fair
reflect
point.
that.
Fair
I don't know
point.
if a win
Yeah.
against Roman, like I think we have to be cautious with it, right? Like he
Yeah, I mean,
can
look,
score
it's the best he's
points.
looked in Monte-Carlo in probably a decade, but it's
Right.
Roman.
Exactly. I mean, like if he does that against Mazzetti, which I think is a possibility too. I'm not,
Yeah, we'll talk about that match, I'm sure, pretty soon.
yeah,
Yeah, that, yeah.
but
All right, well, I think we said it all on that match.
yeah. No, I like these futures. It's like some good value here.
Yeah.
All right, we'll touch on it like after we go through the matches. I thought they wouldn't be up because there's still some second round matches yet to be done. So
Yeah.
I'm actually pleasantly surprised that they're up. Kachanov against Medvedev. Kachanov is a 3.5 game dog +210 on the money line. Medvedev is -260. Over under 22. I'm curious to see what you have to say. I don't really have so much of a read on this. I'm not a big fan of what I've seen from Kachanov, honestly. I didn't see the match with Medvedev against Monfils today. I was surprised that it was that convincing, actually. I bet the over there.
I'm not as surprised. Monfils' form has not been good the past couple matches.
Yeah, maybe he's better on hard now, right? Because he doesn't hit quite as big and he's not quite as explosive. Like
I also think
into the ball.
I think that's probably true. And then like, I think that's probably partially true. And then there's, he's also got to be a week to week guy at this point, right? Monfils, like, I don't know. I just, you never know about him, right? Like, you don't know his fitness level, I think, at all anymore. Like,
Right. What's your read on this match?
I'd lean Medvedev, but I was really hoping that this would come in. Like, if this came in at 3, the spread came in at 3, I'd probably lay the games on Medvedev. I mean, he's just so much. He owns this head to head with Kachanov. I think it's 6-1 or something, 5-1,
Yeah.
and like every top 10 guy owns the head to head with Kachanov. So it's not like we like can't figure out why.
Yeah, but Clay neutralizes that to some extent, right? In my eyes.
I agree with you, and that's why I think that like that, but like, so I agree with you, but also then you can go the other way and say, well, Kachanov hasn't been great on great really on the year, right? Especially if you're looking at like any kind of like qualitative test. He's or even if you look at like points won, he's struggled. But then you can go back and turn it around and spin it the other way. I think that like I think Medvedev, like I would still, if I like picking a winner, I'd pick Medvedev, but the 2-0 here is even money. This 3.5 games it's not nothing. Kachanov does compete. Like He's like the surface advantage here is Kachanov. But the matchup edge is definitely Medvedev. Like, what is Kachanov? Like, Kachanov doesn't finish points well in net either, right? So, like, what is he going to do against Medvedev's defense? But like Medvedev's clay results outside of that one Rome win aren't amazing. I don't really want. I'm a pass here, but I would lean Medvedev. I mean, though, so the 2-0 at plus 105 is getting interesting. I'll have to keep looking at this. Like, this is one of those I'm going to kind of keep tracking as the night go. You know, as long as I'm up tonight, however late I'm up. Like, but like, if that it's getting to a point where I think it's hittable for Medvedev, but it's right near my minimum buy point. I don't think there's much value on Medvedev, if any. Like, and I think there's no value here on Kachanov. I just think the head-to-head and the style matchup, especially on clay, like,
Yeah.
Kachanov to win 0 sets. Can you go back? Can you go down to the bottom there? But Bavaz had this weird prop with the guy not to win a set. Yeah, it's plus 105. So it's the same thing as the 2-0.
Same thing, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as a parlay place, you could play the Medvedev money line, the minus 260. I think that's safe-ish. I mean, I just don't like how does Kachanov win this match?
Yeah, it's a tough matchup for him. It's more like I don't truly trust Medvedev's like clay ability,
I don't either, but yeah, I don't either. I agree.
I want to play something here. It's probably going to be the Medvedev 2-0. I think that's probably the best line. I agree, tend to agree. But all in all, I think it's a pass. Like there's nothing GBM worthy here. There's nothing
GBM worthy. If I was gonna play this, I'm close to playing this as a 1-unit play for Med.
2-0.
Yeah, on the 2-0. But
like if this was on hard court, 100%. No doubt. But what is Kachanov's record against top 10 players on clay?
Ooh, good question. It's not good. I looked it up. I'm pretty sure it's not good. I mean, it's not good against on any surface, right? So it's not going to be good on clay. But
yeah,
I'll look it up for you. Versus the top 10.
Yeah.
3-14. The wins are Del Potro back in 2019. He beat Rublev in Madrid last year.
Okay.
And then back in 2017, he beat Goffin in Barcelona.
Yeah.
Back when he was ranked like 56 in the world.
But like looking at his losses, I have it pulled up here too. Djokovic in 4 at the French. Alcaraz 4 and 5. Rublev, Alcaraz, Tsitsipas. But like he does win some sets there. Like recently, they've been like really close sets. Like Djokovic, he was it was 4-6 and then 7-6 in the second. Alcaraz was a tight match in Madrid last year, 4 and 5. Like it's not like he's getting blown out. And like I view obviously Djokovic, Alcaraz, and probably Tsitsipas back in 22 as better clay court players as Medvedev, than Medvedev.
Fine, but I also think Kachanov's not playing well the past.
Good point. That's true.
You know what I mean? Like I think Medvedev's overall form is better. Medvedev's not the best clay court player. So there's a lot to digest there.
It's probably a pass. Like I think more than
I think it's really close. I think it's really close. I think it's really close between a Medvedev play and a pass. Like I said, I was hoping. I've been tracking this. If it comes down, it'll like if that like 2-0 gets to like 120. I think I'd be all over Medvedev, but at even money or 105, I'm probably just off. It's so close.
Okay. I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna just forget that match and just watch the Minaur Poppy match in the morning.
I get it. I
Oh,
get it.
yeah. All right, Rune Nagal. I have the 3-set line, which is not looking good there, and I have the no tiebreak parlay that I'm sweating. So, but that's that. You had no play on that, right?
Yeah, I know no play
No,
there.
nothing. All right, Mio Kecmanovic. I have the under 22.5 there, so that's looking pretty good. And then I also have the no
What was
tie.
the first set? 6-4?
Yeah,
So you need
no tiebreak.
well, or Mio could steal the set too, and then you're in bad shape too. So you
Yeah,
need you basically have Dimitrov minus a game and a half in the
but
second
if
set.
if this second set gets to a tiebreak, then I lose my no tiebreak parlay. Plus, I lose the under. It would just be pure pain.
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm sweating that match too. So yeah. Uh Zverev Tsitsipas. Very interesting match. These guys played, I think, in the semis here 2 years ago, right? Which Tsitsipas won.
Yeah, Tsitsipas owns this head to head. I think it's 9-5, and he owns it because I think he owns it 4-1 on clay.
Yeah. But it's a different Tsitsipas now.
But he's looked better this week.
I don't know. For me, I'm going back to the well and I'm betting Zverev minus 120. I just think he's a much better tennis player at this point.
I hear you. Um, I hear you. I'm a pass. The head to head, Tsitsipas has looked better. Um,
Yeah, but better against Etch, who played terribly, who had nothing to hurt him. Like Zverev has stuff that he can hurt Tsitsipas with, even on this surface.
yeah, but I don't know that but I think this style matchup, especially on a slow clay, is good for Tsitsipas. Because he can get Zverev out of the slot, right? Especially on the backhand, he can get Zverev out of that slot we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that is an issue. Like I said, I'm not on Tsitsipas here, but I'm a pass. I think this is pretty close. I've seen a fair amount of steaming on Tsitsipas here. I'm not sure I'm quite there, but I'm probably a pass here.
Have their clay matches gone over or under? Typically.
Good question. I can't remember.
I know they played a 5-setter at the French.
Um, so the one that they played a couple years ago was 4-2 to Tsitsipas. They played in Rome 2 years ago. Tsitsipas in 3. Madrid, Zverev in 3. Roland Garros was 5. Then they played back in 19 in Madrid. That was a 3-setter. So, in a fair number of close matches in this rivalry. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like they play more 3-set matches. Like I think the 3-set line is actually a interesting look here. Plus 120. That's not that good though.
No.
It's not that good. Yeah,
And Zverev also I don't know, Zverev hasn't looked there's been a lot of times when Zverev hasn't looked good this year either.
yeah, but that's Zverev, and then when he plays someone, when he plays a big name player, I feel like he raises his game slightly. I think he plays more down to the level of the competition. But he doesn't like Tsitsipas, So I think his antennas are going to be up. He wants to beat him. I think the motivation is going to be really high. I just think he's a better player at this point. I think that, backhand to backhand exchanges really help him. The serve is better for Zverev. I think Zverev has actually improved at net recently. I think that kind of goes under noticed.
It does. It does.
I don't know. If this match was on a hard court, on any hard court, Zverev should be the massive favorite.
I agree. But this is the best place this match can be played for Tsitsipas. That's why I'm a pass, but
Right.
I'm close to getting on Zverev. Like I would way rather get with Zverev on the minus 120 than I would with Tsitsipas. So I'll say that.
Okay. I'm taking more the better player versus the court narrative. Like I just think Zverev is just so much better as a tennis player right now that like I think obviously the court makes some difference. I'm not gonna like say it doesn't make any difference, but uh, I'm gonna side with just the better player in
I hear you.
this instance. And like the line is pretty close. It's not like Zverev is a minus 140 or minus 150 favorite. Then I'd lay off.
It's also really hard because so like last year, Zverev was 0-5 versus the top 10 on clay.
Okay.
Which is a kind of a concerning, was a concern. Is he a bit different player than he was last year in the spring?
I mean, he had
No.
a good run at the French, but like he was still kind of working back from that injury. Like it's not like it was really not until like US Open time when he like fully got confident in that ankle. I feel. Or maybe beginning of the French Open, I should say, because he did make a semi there. But it did take him some time.
It definitely took him time. I'm not disagreeing with you
So
there.
I'm kind of throwing away last year's clay court season. I'm not taking too much stock into that.
Fair, fair. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's
So what price would you need to hit this Zverev money line?
oh, not much more than what you're getting there. Like maybe like I would probably like even money. Maybe like minus 110 even money, something like that. Like I don't think it's like way, I'm not that far off of there. Like I'm not on Tsitsipas here.
Mhm.
It
Okay.
might be a little bit greedy, but like I don't yeah. There might be value
I
on
remember
Zverev
the
minus
time
120.
where you didn't hit Arthur Feast on the futures in Lyon last year because he wasn't 50 to
Yeah,
1,
it feels like
only
that, right?
20
It
to
feels like
1.
that, where it's like if it was at 51 to 1, I would hit it, not 50 to 1. That's what this kind of feels like. Like if it was a few, so it's another one that I'm tracking. Like this and Medvedev are probably the ones that I'm tracking to see like if they move by some chance, these become a lot more interesting to me, both these matches.
Okay. Okay. All right, next match here. Djokovic Musetti. You have a Musetti futures, right? At 11 to 1 to win the quarter.
Yeah, and I've gone Musetti money line here at 375. I think like with all the talk around Djokovic, the talk, the bad form in Australia, he doesn't do well in Monte-Carlo usually. Um, Fired Goran, like you just add all those things together, and I still gotta fade him at least one more round. Like, there's nothing this year that says that this should be 375 on clay. It's just the name Novak Djokovic, and just based on what he's done in the past.
I hear you. I can't get there. I would need like something like after seeing what he did against Roman, and I get it, it's Roman, and this is a way better clay court
It's
player.
also one match, right, where he had, it's also one match. It's
Yes, but I can't see Djokovic losing to the same guy twice in a row at the same tournament. I just can't see it. Um, I think Djokovic at this point in his career, he needs certain things to motivate him, and like these kind of narratives are a potential motivator in my eyes. I know I looked into this stuff way more than you. I just can't see him losing to the same guy, not named Nadal on a clay court twice in a row and 2 years in a row. So if I'm backing Musetti here, I would back him to win a set, but I'm not going to back him to win the match.
yeah. I just think like so I take it a little differently. I think it's a pure Novak for me. It's like, and I think that makes sense because like keep in mind like Djokovic couldn't play. He had like the bandage on it, or the sleeve on his arm, and he couldn't serve the ball. And it
Yeah.
was still like 6-4 Musetti in the third. So I
Right.
get that take. Like this is not really a pro Musetti take. Like I don't really care about Musetti here. This is all about Djokovic. Um, yeah, it's and that's why I don't really want the Musetti plus a set and a half here, is because like if Djokovic is playing well or even decent, if he's playing his B game even, this is probably 2-0. I'm really counting on or hoping for him to have his D game that Musetti can win, and I'd rather have the bigger plus money.
I actually don't mind the Djokovic over 12.5.
I don't like that. If you're gonna do that, take Musetti to win a set.
What's that?
I mean, yeah. Like, do you really think that, like, I mean, like, again, given what we just said about no tie breaks here, like,
Well, significant
that
mental
could be a
edge.
good. What is the no tie break here?
Minus 300.
Oh, it's such an awful price.
Yeah, that's a bad price.
Yeah.
I'm
But there might
probably
be value in it. I don't really see this ever like I'd be pretty surprised in this match if there was a tie break.
yeah, I agree with that. I mean,
Like I think
I might take the 3-set line at plus 185. I actually prefer that than the plus 125. Because I can't see Musetti winning this in straights.
I could. I mean, if Novak doesn't have his form,
There's gonna be some response. Like, I don't know. I'm not that low on Novak. That's a big difference. It's a 60-cent difference between him plus 1.5 sets versus the 3-set line.
yeah, but it's only a 10% difference in terms of like match probability.
True. Oh, yeah. I mean, that being said, Musetti he's looked pretty good recently. Like that match against Borges, he actually didn't play that well, that badly last week. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we did see
Yeah, I
him.
mean, and he
We
played great.
saw him
We
in
saw him
Miami.
against Shelton. He played great. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, like I don't know, man. I think I like obviously like I'm not as high on this as I was pre-tournament, right? Like pre-tournament, I would have been like much like this would have been a much higher unit play. Like, but I still think it's worth a flyer. Just taking a flyer that Djokovic's form is not there, and that was just a one match blip.
Okay. I don't want to back Djokovic at this price. There's no doubt about that. I don't want to lay the 4.5. Like, I think Musetti also has the quality to, play well. We've seen him win. We've seen him take 2 sets at the French. Like, this is not an easy matchup for Djokovic per se. I think I'm gonna take the 3-set line at plus 185. I think that's where I stand on Djokovic. I think that kind of matches that, the 3-set line here. And it's a decent price at plus 185. So that's where I'm going.
Yeah.
And if it gets to a 3rd set, I will certainly be on your side. I'll just gladly root for Lorenzo. So you can cash, cake. I want that Musetti Popyrin quarterfinal. That would be epic for you.
That would be pretty epic. That'd be pretty epic. Owning 2 double-digit futures and having them play against each other, that'd be pretty epic.
Freaking amazing. Question for you. So if Djokovic did win this, right, and Poppy beat Minaur, what would your hedging strategy be?
Probably none.
Really?
I mean, like, yeah, I mean, like, I don't like your hedge price is gonna be so crappy. Is the problem. Like even if you try to hedge like a 2-0, it's gonna be a nightmare. Like no, it's just like it's like, and that was the issue always with this is like, it was a bet against Novak, right? And like and you weren't. It wasn't. It's a long shot, and it wasn't really made to hedge. Like if I get the 40-1 there, I'll be very happy, right? Like, like and I'll just be hoping. I mean, like, look, the other thing is, like, in Australia, wasn't Poppy very close? He was either a point or 2 points away from going up 2-1 on Djokovic in Australia, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was 6-3, 4-6, 7-6, 6-3.
Mm-hmm.
I think in the third set, I think he either had set point or was 2 points away from going up 2-1,
It's very
which,
possible. Yeah.
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 So I don't
Okay.
know. I think Poppy's live against literally anybody in the top half of this draw. I don't think he's very live to win the event. But I think he's very live in the top half of this draw.
Yeah, I don't think he's live to beat Sinner.
Or even like Medvedev. Like honestly, like there's like four guys in the bottom half he's gonna have a really hard time with. Like,
So you view Medvedev higher than Djokovic right now?
yeah.
This court? Wow.
Yeah.
See, not me. Not me. I'm still. All right. So
But it would be funny if Djokovic won the event. After all my bashing. And like it could happen. Like he could win this.
So if Djokovic wins this event, those 60 followers that followed us, they're probably just going to unfollow us.
Yeah, probably. Probably.
You probably should, honestly, with how much you bash Djokovic.
I'm down for it. Like I'm cool with my bashing of Mr. Djokovic.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good. All right, next match: Jan-Lennard Struff and Jannik Sinner. Sinner is a 5.5 game favorite, minus 1,200 on the money line. Struff is plus 700, over under of 19.5. I'm gonna lay the games here, man. 5.5.
I was leaning the other way, but I'm not quite there. I'm gonna pass. But I was leaning, not necessarily taking the 5.5, and maybe taking Sinner over 12.5. Like Struff's got a pretty decent. I mean, Struff's got a decent record on clay, and I think he's shown an ability to beat top guys.
Yeah, but top guys and Sinner in this form is different. Like if it's Rublev or if it's even Medvedev, I get it. Or it's Zverev. Like, but
I mean, he beat Ruud here 2-0 last year.
That's different. Ruud he's a 250 king.
He's a two-time defending French Open finalist, undisputed French Open finalist. You're not disputing there's a French Open finalist. You shouldn't be, at least.
Yeah, you're not wrong, but I don't know. I can't go against Sinner. I just think we talked about Sinner's ability to shrink the court, just get so many balls back, play great defense. Like if Sinner is playing that kind of defense, what does Struff do to win points?
The problem is, with these 5.5 game spreads, like I'm not saying that Struff is going to win the match. It's just and I don't like the money line price at all. But there are some other good prices out here if you like Struff. Like I think Struff to win a set is like 2-1. That's probably not great.
But Sinner has covered 5.5 games in the last 4 matches, and that's against players all better than Struff: Machak, Medvedev, Dimitrov, and Korda.
Yeah, but 3 of those on a quick hard court. I mean, he didn't cover it against O'Connell, didn't cover against Greeksport, didn't cover against Valdesori. So you go back 3 matches before that, and he didn't cover any of them.
You got 5 against Greeksport. I mean, but yeah, that's kind of an outlier.
5, right? Like again, that's why this is a tough. Like I think the spread is pretty close to right. Like
covered
the debate is should it be 5? Right? My mind are 5.5. And that's why I'm staying away. Like I don't. Yeah.
Covered against Shelton. Covered against Kokkinakis. He covers 5.5 more often than not.
He didn't cover against Struff at Indian Wells. It was 5. I mean, I think 5 is like 5 to 5.5 is the right spread here. Like that's why I'm staying away. Like
Okay. All right. No, I'm strongly on this. This is gonna be a 2-unit play for me.
I can't. I mean, yeah. I mean,
You know what I
I
actually
hear you.
what I actually like more in a way is the -3.5 in the first set plus 190. I actually like that more. Thinking about it, I'm probably gonna split my unit there. I'm gonna do 1 unit on the -3.5 in the first set, and then -5.5 on the match.
Okay.
Yeah. How was the -3.5 plus 190 and the under 8.5 plus 175?
No, that's the right thing because
Oh, because they're equating for Struff winning the set 6-2.
yeah. Yeah, I mean it's 15 cents, right? Like they're giving like a 1% chance of happening, which is probably fair.
Okay, yeah. All right. I think it's gonna be really hard for Struff to win games. Like as soon as Struff's serve comes back at a decent depth.
Oh, he's not done. That's not true. I mean, Struff smacks balls all over the court. Struff's gonna smack some winners here. He's gonna make a crap ton of errors too, but like he'll smack some winners.
Okay. It's gonna be minimal, but yeah, he'll smack a few, but not enough to sustain any like, you know, success.
I mean, he won a set off Alcaraz, right? In a final. Like he's done. He's been pretty good in terms
That was
of
altitude clay though. Like Madrid is probably one of the better courts for him. This is a way different court than Madrid.
I'm not saying it's not, but like I don't know. He's he's shown the ability to compete with top guys.
Okay.
1-6 against Rublev, he lost, but he got to a tiebreak there. Like I'm looking at it, so he's 5-10 in his career on clay versus the top 10, but he's taken a set 1, 2, 3 in 9 of 15 matches.
Mm-hmm.
And you're getting 2-1 on him to take a set. I mean, like, look, I'm not on it, but I'm saying, like, I think Struff is like, he's a high variance guy.
Your points make sense. I think I'm just putting more stock into Sinner's form.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
I honestly think it's fair. Like, I don't like. I'm like, it would be a slight lean, but it'd be like a gun to head lean on Struff, and it would probably be the set, like a 2-1. Like, so I think you want something on plus money if you're gonna go with Struff here, because this could go to your point. This could go completely sideways.
Completely sideways. Yeah, totally.
I mean, the other thing that's interesting is the what is the center over 12.5 games? That could be interesting too.
Before I look at it, what price would you need to hit that?
Probably something plus money, like plus, I don't know, 125, something like that, maybe. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Plus 110. No.
It's close. Like I mean, you're
Yeah.
asking you need him to compete. You need him to compete in one, you need Struff to be competitive in one set. You know, I probably prefer him to just on such a slow court. I'd probably prefer Struff to just win a set outright, but
Mm.
I don't know. It's like Struff is a great like any given day kind of guy because he can play like he could play a lights out set.
Yeah, see, if he plays a lights out set, like that probably means like 7-6. But then that's what I like about the 5.5 is that, he's probably not going to be able to sustain that level. And then the second set is just going to be like a 6-1. Like I still think if it's 7-5 or 7-6, like I still think that 5.5 is in play.
I agree. That's why the more we're talking through it, like if you're gonna back Struff, I think you'd want to back him to win one of the two sets.
Okay.
At the 210. I think it's an interesting price. I'm not playing it, but I think it's an interesting look.
Mhm. All right, next match. We got my boy, Hubie. Your boy is Poppy, my boy is Hubie.
Yeah.
Against Casper Ruud. Ruud is a 2.5 game favorite. Hubie's plus 175 on the money line. Ruud is minus 215. And the over-under is 23. You know my play here. I'm going back to the well. It's going to be the over 23.
Yeah, look, it's not a bad spot to hit it. We've talked about how Ruud's not a bad over guy, even on clay. I'm not on this. I'm just, I'm actually tempted to back Ruud here, but he looked pretty good. He beat Tabilo 4-2. The hamstring probably isn't too bad if he did that. Like he's significantly better than Hubie on clay.
Did you see
but
the match last week against Pedro?
I did not. No, I just heard there was a hamstring issue, and I heard that from multiple sources. Yeah, I didn't see the match. I was out actually playing tennis myself. I also heard Pedro played really well, by the way. But that would make sense. But yeah, it's hard. I mean, yeah, like it's tempting to lay the 2.5 with Casper here also. I think, but it's juice, still too juice for me. You're basically laying 3.
Have these guys played on clay before?
I'm pretty sure they've played. I don't remember if they played on clay. They've played, yeah, they played in Roland Garros in 2022, 4-set match.
That Ruud won?
Yeah. But 4 short sets.
Okay. No tiebreak bet here.
It was there. It was under 0.5 tie breaks, minus 115, or yeah, minus 115.
Not bad. I mean, with Hubie, you're always like questioning that, but
I wouldn't do it against Ruud. I don't. I mean, even on clay, I think Ruud's serve game is better than his return game.
agreed.
He's a better attacker than he's a defender.
Agreed.
Yeah, I'm just off this. But I think it's a.
I'm going back to the well, but I'm not quite as optimistic as I was like today against RBA or like I think Ruud is better, and I think fatigue it could be a question mark. It's just an experiment I'm having, like with
no. I think it's. I mean, look, like it's done really well. It's like it's hard to fault.
It's 5-1, so
it's hard to fault you for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm barely a pass here, but yeah, it's
from a matchup perspective. I mean, Ruud obviously has a way better ground game. Hubie, I think the only way for him to really consistently win points is like if he just serves big to the Ruud backhand and just opens up the court. But the problem is Hubie's +1 is so bad.
It's really it's a problem. We talked about that before on clay. It's a problem.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't like the +175. Like I think I would need at least 2-1 to even think about hitting Hubie on the money line. And given how much tennis he's played, like he might be able to squeak by getting the over 23 or squeak a set, but I don't think he's gonna find a way to win this match. So
yeah,
that's how I'm thinking about it. But
all right, Hubie, I don't really know. The more I think about this, I don't really know what Hubie does to like win this match. Besides serve great.
Yeah, but he's gonna need to
serve fantastic, right? Like he got. So I'm looking at this, and this is what you would expect. But I'm just gonna look at the stats quickly on this, and their head-to-heads. I was actually looking at your favorite stat, second serve points. It's not a bad serve to look at stat, especially with these guys, to look at like how these guys are hitting off the baseline.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Ruud has been absolutely dominant off the second serve in this matchup over
Yeah.
Healy. He's winning, I think, like upwards of like 15-20% more points off the second serve. Like it's really like
Wow.
he's
Okay.
got to make a ton of first serves, and then he's got to win points off that first serve. It's really his only chance.
Yeah, that's tough.
The more I look at it, the more I'm tempted to lay 2.5. But because like with 2.5, laying the 2.5, like you still could lose a set and get there.
Can you do the alternate and do the 3 and eliminate the
Yeah,
juice?
and then there's no juice. You could play the 3 at even money. It's kind of the same thing. Play the 3. That's probably where I'd be tempted to go gun to head, but I'll probably stay away. I think it's probably close to 0 EV.
Okay. The Ruud to win it over 22.5, but yeah. When was the last QB dud? Like where he just like went away and lost 1 and 2?
Well, he lost 3 and 4 against somebody recently, right? That's a I consider that a dud for
Oh, that was
Hubie.
that against Ugo?
I'm looking it up now. Yeah, there was 4 and 4 to Ugo. My bad. I guess there was 4 and 4 to Ugo. Yeah, I think that's the only one that hasn't been where he's lost and hasn't gone over this year.
The Monfils match in Indian Wells was just weird.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he rarely duds.
No, you're not worried about it, dud. You're worried about his team just getting outplayed by Ruud, right? Like, because he's just, he's not as good from the back of the court.
Yeah.
Like, Rublev's a way better player than him on this court. That's the problem. Like, honestly, the Ruud money line at like minus 215 is probably not a bad parlay piece either.
I agree.
Like, I'm tempted. What's it parlay on Medvedev and Ruud to win? Just to win outright, or not win outright, but yeah, just to win, like, just money line. You parlay those two guys.
Medvedev and Ruud.
Yeah,
It's 103.
kind of like that. Neither of those guys should lose.
You want to add Poppy plus 1.5 sets?
No. Like Poppy could go out and just make 100 errors. You know what I mean? Like that's the problem.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
Like who loses there between Ruud and Medvedev?
Neither.
Like is Kachanov really beating Medvedev? Like I guess he has the advantage with the clay because the ball bounces up higher. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also like Kachanov in good form on clay is more dangerous.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
So I think the Kachanov not being in peak form and like losing sets to Cerundolo and like I think that plays a part, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I think it's a fun play. I'm pretty confident on Zverev. Like, I would probably add that too, but
Yeah. I mean, I'm
that's
already at pass there. You're right.
yeah.
So like that's either I'm playing it or I'm passing it. Like there's no.
Right.
All right. Last
Last
match.
match is Lorenzo Sonego against Ugo Humbert. Sonego's a 2.5 game dog. Plus 165 on the money line. Humbert is minus 200, over under of 23. So did you see any of the Sonego match with the FA?
No, but I heard it was terrible.
It was terrible, and he celebrated twice. That was so funny because like I think Sonego hit a serve and then like he thought it hit the line and like FA missed the return, so he like celebrated big fist bump, and then like the umpire comes out and calls it out. And it was a second serve too, so he lost the point.
Oh,
So it went back to deuce. So, and then like it was a back and forth where he had to save like 2 more break points or something. And then he
wow.
finally won with like some, bad FA error. And then he just celebrated. He celebrated the exact same way the second time. That was it's funny. But is he more happy that he won the match, or is he more happy that Alcaraz is injured?
Why does he care that Alcaraz is injured?
Because he got a lucky loser into the
Oh, that's
second.
right. That's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. And he got to buy. Like that was like
I
it's
know.
so ridiculous. Like you get like you lucky loser in, and because they don't redo the draw, you get a buy. It's like it's kind of insane. Like,
It
he
is.
gets third round points now, and it matters because like now that one match he wins, he gets third round points.
I know, it's crazy. It's like Luca Nardi in Indian Wells,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah. Well, I like Ugo here.
I do too. I'm laying the 2.5.
Yeah, me too. I'll play that.
It's a little
I'll make
bit.
this GBM too.
Yeah, I would also. It's the thing that tipped me on the scales here is just looking at how much better the favorites do. I just think like better tennis players do better on this surface, and like Humbert's just a better tennis player than Sonego.
I actually like the under here too, under 23. Like
I
that's
don't love that because like I mean we know that Sonego is erratic and like he could win a set and you still cover the 6. Like that's the 2.5. That's why I don't hate like laying 2.5 here, because like you're not dead in the water if you lose a set. It's not like 4.5 where you lose a set and you're in real trouble. Like 2.5, like you can lose a set and cover that.
good point. That's true. Okay.
And I see almost no. And I think Sonego 2-0, you'd have to play 2 consecutive good sets, which that seems like a lot to ask out of
No,
Sonego.
that's not good. That's not good. I mean the LWW is not a bad look here.
I agree. I mean, what's the Hugo money line? Is it like minus 170 or something?
The Ugo minus
Minus
200.
200.
Would you add
Throw
that
that
as
in.
a parlay piece in the Ruud?
Yeah, we could do that like a favorites parlay. And I think it makes a lot of sense given the favorites trend.
Okay. So what's the?
Also, just for funsies, you could throw in Sinner as well at minus 1,200. He doesn't lose to Struff 8% of the time, does he?
No. I mean that's plus 204. Ruud, Medvedev, Humbert.
And if you throw in Sinner, what do you get, like 220 or something?
230.
230.
Ron Zverev, it's minus 5 plus 504.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like, I get you love the Zverev pick. I don't, but like, of Humbert, Ruud, and Medvedev, who loses? I don't. I mean, like, the scariest one is Humbert, just based on like the volatility of both players. But he's just so much. I mean, Sonego's been so poor this year.
Yeah, FAA was terrible, like even worse, like
Right. Right.
good,
Yeah.
but like FAA was just god awful. And if like
Yeah.
FAA doesn't make a gazillion errors, Sonego doesn't win that match. It's that
Right. And I get that. And so like, and when I capped Sonego as a dog, it was because he was a dog, and you're hoping that FA plays
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, really, right? Like, it's the same thing as like, we like, a lot of times I back dogs that like I don't actually think are gonna win. Right. It's just price.
Yeah. Right. I hear you, man.
Yeah, I kind of like just the Humbert Medvedev Ruud, like, and that's at like one whatever the 140 or something you get for that, or the 200. Yeah, it's 2-1.
Yeah. That's good. I would do that as a GBM too.
Let's do that as a GBM. That 3-leg
GBM parlay.
Yeah, GBM parlay. Parlay of the day. Parlay of the day.
Nice. We haven't done one of those.
Amateur parlay of the day. We haven't done one of those in like months.
I know.
The GBM amateur parlay of the day. But this is like back to old school.
Yeah, that's right. Wasn't that Klaus's?
That was Klaus's. Yeah, that was Klaus. Klaus Fugard is one of the OGs of this podcast.
Yep.
One of our honestly, like thanks to Klaus, like in the beginning days, like back when we first started, Klaus really supported us.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, I mean, we still continue to talk, we still continue to support our pod, but definitely like a huge help to our podcast. So a note of thanks to Klaus.
100%. If Rune and Dimitrov get through, what do you expect that line to be? That's a popcorn match.
That could end up being pick. I could see it coming out at pick or something close to it. It's my guess is that comes out at pick. I'll guess pick. Maybe it comes. Yeah, I think pick is probably pretty good there. Like,
who'd you back at pick?
probably Dimitrov because he's probably more steady. And I'm laughing because like I guess the first time I've ever picked Dimitrov based on his steadiness to win a match. Like
that's so true. Yeah, I mean, they've played some good matches. They played in Wimbledon last year. I know Rune won that. It's really
just playing so well the past few months. I mean, the dud at the Australian Open against Nuno excluded, he's played really well.
100%. And he's translated what he did at the end of last year into this year.
And I mean, he's not that his game is fine on clay.
Yeah,
like it's probably his least favorite surface, but it's not terrible. Like he's pretty close to an all quarter.
Yeah.
Rune, I think, is best on the slow courts, but I think Dimitrov's also playing a lot better than Rune at this point.
Yeah.
Like Dimitrov is playing top 10 tennis.
I'd agree with that.
I don't think Rune is.
No, he just has a bigger game, and in slow conditions, I trust him to be able to hit through the court more. But like at the same time, it's about not making errors as well. So, he has to be able to hit through the court and not make errors.
Take steady Eddie, Grigor Dimitrov.
Steady Eddie, Grigor Dimitrov. Yeah.
I think that's the first time I've ever said that on this podcast also.
I hear you. At pick, I'd probably back Dimitrov too. If Dimitrov is slight favorite, it just seems like a stay away.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah.
But I probably place it at like minus 130 plus 110 kind of thing. But yeah, we'll.
I want to see a lining up there. Now, the more I think about it, because like Dimitrov's form's a little better, and these guys are pretty similar on the. It really depends how much you factor in like Ruud's clay, like the probably the fact that it's an advantage for Ruud to be on the surface versus Dimitrov.
Mm-hmm. What's Dimitrov's preferred surface right now? Like fast hard court?
I think so.
I would say so too. An indoor hard court, probably. I'm curious to see what that line is. That's going to be very, very interesting. That's going to be very, very interesting to see.
Yeah.
As far as futures go, wow, Sinner is down from 3-1 to plus 175. He's equal to Novak, Ruud plus 900, Medvedev plus 900, Rune plus 1200.
If Poppy makes the final, he's got an 80. He's 80-1 to make the final and 100-1 to win the event. So if Poppy makes the final, the market is saying that he has like an 80% chance of winning against more than likely Sinner, Medvedev, or Zverev.
Yeah.
I really would love to get a plus 400 or a plus 350 even on Medvedev or Zverev or Sinner against Popyrin. That'd be a nice.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
But
I just love how these combos of these futures make no sense.
Yeah, they don't. But going back to the a potential Rune versus Dimitrov fourth round match, like if it goes based on these futures, like Dimitrov is going to be a significant dog.
And then you gotta back Dimitrov, man.
Gotta back Dimitrov, 100%.
Yeah.
At any dog price, I would back Dimitrov.
Yeah, I think he's a better.
Unless like Dimitrov's match ends up going like deep in the third and like Ruud closes it out, like, and there's a
Yeah.
that kind of thing. But if both close it out in straight sets, like I think you have to back Dimitrov. We can make that GBM too if it follows this trend. Like we don't.
Yeah, if it follows, yeah.
So, as far as the quarter winners, I mean, I'm doing the Poppy rollover, so I'll roll it over against Minaur. Maybe not all of it, maybe some of it, but at least 2 units.
Man, I really wish I had done like a money line and and like it's just impossible to know what this is gonna look like ever. But like, I'm. But the problem is like it was all a Novak fade, and if Novak loses, like Poppy's probably like 5-1 or at worst to win the quarter.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, quarter one is just like super interesting, and like the fact that your futures are alive is just amazing.
With 2 guys, I got 2 shots out at 2 shots at double-digit cash there.
They're in opposite ends of the quarter, plus they're both higher odds.
Yeah,
it's amazing. It's amazing. Quarter two, we got Ruud at plus 110, Hubie at plus 260, Ugo at plus 325. Sonego. I don't see much value here, to be honest.
Not with Ruud playing. I mean, honestly, like, yeah, I don't really see much there.
No. Medvedev at plus 140 there.
Oh, I really like Med now. I think one. Well, I'm trying to think of it. Maybe not.
Clay?
Maybe not.
Like the Medvedev Zverev match, if they play in the next round, is like.
I don't think there's any value here at all. The more I think about it, like I don't know where
I think there's value on Zverev but that's only because.
But that's based on on your thoughts on the view on the Tsitsipas match.
Yeah. This quarter is like the next gen kind of. It's like the before the next gen.
Right? Yeah.
It's like that medium group, right? Of 28-year-olds.
But it's a fun. I mean, that's an amazing quarter. They got all those four of those guys through. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I guess they're showing fourth quarter because there's too many dudes left.
Yeah. I feel like I gotta tail you on this Poppy 80-1. Like, it's so appetizing.
Dude, I mean, like again, like my question here is: there's a pass. Like it's 80-1, and there is a pass.
Yeah. I mean, it really would be drastically helped by Musetti beating.
Yeah, but I think Popyrin. I think I'm not saying it's likely, but I think Poppy could beat Novak.
So, what odds would you need on that match if that happens?
Really depends on Djokovic looks against Musetti. To be honest, it's really hard to answer that without seeing how, because like Musetti should be a real opponent for Djokovic. Like I don't know, I watched some of the highlights of the Saflin match, and like Saflin was just not good.
Yeah,
like he just can't move well enough to and Novak still has the good tactics and such, right? Like so, it's not like
Saflin's tactics are bad. It's just like if the balls are going in, he's good, and if they're going out, it's really bad.
Well, he just doesn't move well either. So like if he's not moving to the ball, he's in real trouble. And Djokovic's making a move, and then anytime they got into a point, like Saflin, it just wasn't very good.
Yeah, I hear you. In the name the finalist, Popyrin is not included in any of them.
Yeah, well, yeah. So I have a futures in the beginning of the tournament. I got a bottom half at plus 140. I think that looks incredible now.
That was good. That was really good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I mean, it's already minus 130.
Yeah.
So, well, I think Alcaraz going,
it's because of the Alcaraz withdrawal. I'm not taking credit for that. It's just the Alcaraz withdrawal.
Right. Yeah. All right. So I think that does it for this episode.
Yeah.
Any other takes? Any other last
Not
party
really.
shots?
No, honestly, I mean, again, like, thanks to all the followers. If you like the pod, please, we love comments. Comments are the best.
Mhm.
Subscribe, give a like,
We even like trolls.
Oh, trolls are the
Right?
best. Trolls are fine. We're okay with some trolls.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, we
don't expect Poppy plus 300 picks to cash every single day. Like that's not the reality. We're gonna win some, we're gonna lose some, but we back it up with logic, right? And we're up for discussion. So I think
yeah.
that's yeah. But yeah, Poppy pick, man. It's great. We need have some Poppy seed bagels this weekend. If Poppy's in the final,
Oh,
I'm
that'd be amazing. Oh,
I'm
that'd be
going to the
amazing.
store and getting some
That'd
Poppy.
be amazing. Yeah. I mean, there's be a lot of positivity in my life if Poppy makes a final. It's gonna be a very positive Sunday.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Have a good night. We will be back to pod. I don't know, maybe tomorrow night if we're up.
Yeah, maybe if we have time, like maybe tomorrow,
See.
maybe something. It depends. These are much better for potting. So like I know because I know some people have asked about this. Like, it's there's tournaments in the Western Hemisphere, potting is almost useless
Mhm.
because there's no lines out and like it's just not like there's just no value in it. Like so that's a lot of times then we'll do a tournament preview and just like a recap and that'll be it. And we'll do some more. What we tend to do is actually more like Twitter Spaces. We'll do more like kind of like I guess we call them like watch parties when we'll like
Yeah,
hang out on Twitter and watch, and then people can chime in and we can all like watch together and talk about the match. We'll do
yeah,
a few more of those, um, and a few less of pods. But the European clay season, we tend to do more pods because it's just more like it's more
definitely.
conducive.
And I hope to have some guests on as well. That's always nice.
Yeah.
Get some
Yep. Well, we
different.
definitely for the slams will have some guests on. We almost always our slam previews tend to have guests.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
got to get Josh back on. I mean, there's a lot of guys
Ew.
who have been really important to the pod. That's where the call out, man. Like MP9, Dave Berger and Tidbits Tennis, John Reed
Yeah.
have been really important to the pod. We got J Rod has been a really loyal fan for us.
Oh,
So,
man.
uh,
We got
Klaus
Nessa.
we
We
called
got
out.
Mladen Kratnovich. I think he's been liking
Yeah,
the
yeah, we got
post, right?
Modern, yeah.
Who else? Nessa, right?
Nessa!
Shout out.
Oh, we missed him. Come on, me, bro.
Kumatman, bro. Newmark Betts, right? He's another
Newmark
one.
Betts. Yeah, we can actually we can actually look at and bring Newmark Betts on as a
He's had some
guest.
really good stuff too. Like shout out
Yeah.
to him on the Corda pick, like against Davidovich Fokina. That was an easy catch. That was awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't join that with you guys, but yeah, that was a great pick.
Yeah.
Great bet from him.
So yeah, no, it's great. Piranha
Tennis Master. We got to look at some clouds of people again too. Tennis Master has been helpful to our pod.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely some good
Yeah, and then Gambino, right, from last year.
oh yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Remember him?
Can't forget Gambino. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been a hell of a ride.
Well, it's just surprising, right? Like
Yeah.
it's yeah. I mean, put it that way.
All right. Without further ado, have a good night, everyone.
Everyone have a good night. Yep.
All right.
Bye.